Today is a preview and our first impressions of the Nikon Z 24-70 f2.8s lens. This lens is appropriate for Nikon Z cameras, which at this time are the Z6 and the Z7. You can't put this lens on an f-mount camera. It's not in the box, it's filming me right now. We do promise that a review of this lens is coming, but we don't review fast. This is not a review today, this is a preview. Pre-review.
And after Raymond is done giving you his first impressions, I am going to pop in and tell you a couple of things that I think about just as I am first starting to use this lens, and I will share a few photos from my first outing with it.
This lens is available now, and I know some of you have ordered it and some of you are thinking about it, so let me show you some of the basics with this exciting new Z-mount lens. And anytime you see me in this video, or Leigh, it's with the 24-70 f2.8 Z lens set at f2.8. Size and weight are as expected for a full frame lens that's f2.8. Let's compare to some of the other popular options in this category for Nikon, whether they're f2.8 or not, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at here. Okay, so here's our new baby, the 24-70 f2.8s Z-mount lens. And here's our D500, still very relevant to us today, with the 17-55 f-mount lens, specifically for crop sensor cameras. So this is by no means an apples to apples comparison. However, this D500 here, these are some of the things that I know many of you are using today. And then this new 24-70 is, of course, the new kid on the block. So there's a comparison. They're very similar in size. The 17-55 DX lens, as you'd expect, is just a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's bring in the other Z-mount 24-70, but it's the f4. And as you'd expect, in its unopened position, in its locked position, it's shorter and it's also narrower. It's not as wide. And let's go kind of mount to mount there. There we go. So you can see there's a size difference between the two. But you know, when you extend things out, 70 millimeters, let's extend this one out. It's definitely closer in size. Now that doesn't tell the whole story. The 24-70 is smaller and lighter overall. So it's more maneuverable, but it doesn't open up to f2.8. And I expect that we might see some better results from the f2.8 lens as well. Let's bring in the D810. Now this is sort of apples to apples here, f-mount to Z-mount on the respective 24-70 f2.8 lenses. Retracted at 24 millimeters. The new guy's actually smaller because the f-mount lens extends. The f-mount lens extends at 24 millimeters. They are of, subjectively speaking, we haven't put them on a scale, but they're of similar weight and feel in your hands. Obviously more features now, as we discussed, on this new 24-70. So for an f2.8 lens, it's smaller than the f-mount lens. One more comparison here that's relevant. Over here, I have the 24-85 f-mount lens, variable aperture, but f3.5 to f4.5, which isn't bad. It is smaller, more compact as you'd expect, but again, it doesn't have the f2.8. But I mention it and I show this to you because I know a lot of you are using this lens. I love this lens because of its full frame coverage, but its lightweight and quick maneuverability. And yes, the f2.8 Z-mount lens is larger. And also remember that with any of these f-mount lenses, you would need to add the addition of the FTZ adapter to put them on a Z-mount lens as well. So that would add to the size. So comparing f-mount to Z-mount straight up is not quite the same because you need to factor in that adapter as well. One unique feature of this lens is the control ring located towards the base of the lens. Now there's two choices for the control ring. It can be aperture or it can be exposure compensation. It's a third ring. That's new. That's cool. It might seem a little bit limited, but I'm glad that it's there, and I expect to use it to control aperture based on the way that I like to shoot. This display on the lens is cool and unique and configurable. I really, really like it. I knew it had it, but I wasn't too excited about it until actually it put the lens on the camera and it kind of lit up and showed me some cool information. There is a function button on the side of this lens, it can do 21 different things that we counted, some with submenus. Some of the things that it can do is image playback, autofocus, auto exposure related items, depth of field preview, alternate metering mode, like if you're using center weighted metering and you suddenly want to spot meter just for one shot, you can press in the function button to do that. You can use it, this is an interesting one and might be my favorite use of it because I don't mind running around shooting JPEG, but if you decide that you're shooting something and say, wait a minute, I would like a raw image of this too, if you have the function button configured appropriately, you will push that button and then you will have a raw image in addition to your JPEG for that one image that you push the button in for. The front of this lens is an 82mm filter size. That might be disappointing to those of you who have standardized on 77mm filters. It is a nicer lens hood than other Nikon lenses that we've used. It does have a nicer lens hood than other Nikon lenses that we've used, and there's smoother action on the focus, zoom, and the new third ring than any of our Nikon F-mount lenses. That's a little bit subjective, but a little bit objective at the same time. Overall, I look at this and I say, this is a well thought out lens. I like that they are not selling us F-mount lenses that are basically just converted to a Z-mount. This is a new breed of lens. The function button, the third ring, the illuminated configurable display that it has on it. The quality is gonna give us the final answer, but I really like where they're going here. And I would be lying if I could tell you right now about the characteristics and quality of the final images. Leigh's taking this as her challenge in showing you how it delivers, and that is ultimately how we'll judge this lens. But we always like to tell you our first impressions, like Leigh recently did with the Nikon P1000, and then the review will follow, and this lens is no exception. It is unique among Nikons that we've used, and I like where they're going with pro lenses for the Z system. I expect and maybe hope that the upcoming 70-200 f2.8 Z-mount lens will have similar unique qualities.
Okay, I have 3 things to say about the lens and then I will share the photos. The 3 things that I want to say are 1, Raymond said that this is kind of a new breed of a lens and everything feels really good. It really does. It feels more like a Leica lens than any of the other Nikon lenses that I've used. And Raymond mentioned that there are several rings and buttons on this lens, which is great because it's just more customization. But one thing that I noticed when I was very first starting to use this lens that I think is going to be an issue for some people is that the ring that is the closest to the camera body is a little bit awkward when you're holding the camera body. My right hand that's holding the grip kind of runs into the hand that's going to be turning that ring. However, I have a feeling that there's going to be a way around it, so I'm definitely going to try to continue to use that ring so that I can circle back around with you during the final review of this lens. And the last little thing I wanted to say was about the filter size. So the filter size, like Raymond says, is different in these lenses when you compare it to the F-mount G lenses. So my first initial thought when Raymond and I discovered that was, oh no, people aren't going to like that. But then I thought, you know, for me, investing in this system, I wholeheartedly went into it knowing that this was going to be completely new, and I would rather Nikon go ahead and take the leap and change the filter size, assuming that they're going to continue to use the same filter size for the other f2.8 lenses. But I would rather them take the leap and change the filter size than kind of try to force fit maybe what was an old way of doing things. So anyway, that is all of my thoughts on the new 24-70 f2.8s lens. Okay, now here are a few photos from my first outing with this lens.
as you may know or may not, this is not an inexpensive lens. There is an Amazon link in the description so you can check out the current pricing, the latest reviews, etc. We are Amazon affiliates, so when you use that link, it helps support the site. Thanks everybody. And if you have any questions about this lens, the Z system, and our use of the Z6, Z7, the other lenses that we've used like the 24-70 f4, the 35mm prime lens, let us know down in the comments down there. We're happy to discuss anything you'd like to know about the Z system. I know there's a lot of curiosity about it.